Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is lots to negotiate about. But the first topic I'm going to talk with you about is do you think the Premier League season should be axed? Now obviously it did get confirmed today that Premier League fixtures and all English football has been suspended until April the 30th. So basically, the suspension has been extended because obviously, before it was suspended until April the 3rd. But the main explanation, why the suspension has been extended is due to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, obviously, today, it was this morning, like I updated you on, Premier League clubs held an emergency meeting to establish plans for the remainder of the season. And now obviously they have made their decision that it's the suspension is extended until April the 30th. Now obviously Premier League confirmed this, the FA confirmed this, and also to EFL confirmed this. But I think possibly the season could still resume. But a lot of people are saying the season should be abandoned basically in that. And obviously UEFA, they obviously came out not too long ago, and they basically said they want all Premier League fixtures, they want all domestic club competitions completed by the 30th of June. So probably the season will resume again. Obviously it will finish later because usually the season does finish in May. So let's just put that into the equation. But obviously there has been a lot of narratives in the mainstream media basically saying if the season isn't to resume, then there will be 22 teams in the Premier League next season. Around 5 teams will get relegated, and there was also reports saying that the EFL Cup games could be axed to increase Premier League fixtures. Don't forget the UEFA president came out, Alexander Sefine, I think I pronounced his name correctly there. He basically said if the season is abandoned, Liverpool will not be handed the Premier League title and that. And this is very, very debatable. Obviously, as it stands at the moment, Liverpool are sitting 25 points clear of Manchester City. They only need 2 wins to, clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. But Liverpool will really feel hard done by, if they are denied the Premier League title, Liverpool. So that means if Liverpool weren't to be crowned champions, if the season was to be axed, then obviously Leeds wouldn't win the Championship, West Brom wouldn't get promoted, there'd be no winners in League One, there'd be no winners in League Two. So if the season wasn't to resume, it would change a lot. It would change the context of a lot of the leagues. Obviously, there's been also reports emerging out saying that relegation could be scrapped if the season isn't to resume. Don't forget, recently the Aston Villa sporting director, he came out and actually said that relegation should be scrapped. But he did say on the other hand, Liverpool should be handed the Premier League title and that. But so like I mentioned, the main explanation, why the games got, postponed and that in the first place is due to what happened to Mikel Arteta. Because don't forget, not too long ago, he was tested positive for COVID-19. Obviously, he's the big part of it is Mikel Arteta. And obviously, quite a few players, have been tested for the virus. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi's had it, But, it's a really, really bad disease. And like I mentioned, public health is definitely more of a priority than football. But from an Arsenal perspective, they'll be very happy because, Mikel Arteta now does feel much better. But, will the season resume? Do you want the season to resume or do you want the season to be axed in that? Then obviously now we'll be hopeful that, the season can resume after the 30th of April. But, even if they do resume the season, the FA have got a lot to do. Obviously they've got to, reschedule all the fixtures that have been postponed, of course. Don't forget, UEFA did postpone Euro 2020 until the summer of 2021. So obviously, the season can be basically completed in that. But yeah, there's a lot of fans saying, now that the season should be axed, basically. Also, would Manchester United get qualification for the Champions League if the season wasn't to resume and that? And if we didn't get qualification for the Champions League, we'd feel hard done by because we're 5th place in the league. And obviously it's a Champions League spot, reflecting on Manchester City's ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. City have appealed against the decision and they have thrown a lot of money at the appeal and that. So we will basically see what happens. But there's rumours saying there could be 22 teams in the Premier League next season. Britain could also become in lockdown with this virus. It isn't in lockdown as yet. Obviously, you've got quite a few countries, that are in lockdown, with this virus. But like I mentioned, this is very, very serious. And that's not only football games that have been postponed, a lot of sporting events, in general, obviously, being cancelled. Obviously, before the league and that got suspended, teams were playing matches behind closed doors. And like I mentioned, football is not the same, without many fans there. So I want to know your opinions. Do you think the season should be axed, or do you think the season should continue to resume after the 30th of April? And closer to that date, I do believe they'll schedule another meeting, to see if then, they can resume the season or extend, the suspension for longer. But, we will see what happens. So, by the way, I also want to give you an update on Peter Whittingham, by the way. Ole Gunnar Solsjaker has come out and paid his tribute to Peter Whittingham, who's his former Cardiff player. He has died, by the way, at the age of 35 as Peter Whittingham. I think he was in hospital. I think, he did actually, have an head injury. But he has, of course, died in hospital. Peter Whittingham retired in 2018, which was 2 years ago. He enjoyed a 15-year career. So, yeah, he enjoyed a 15-year career. Obviously, was at Cardiff, but I think he also played, didn't he, for Blackburn, Burnley, Derby and Aston Villa, if I'm right. So it's good to see Solskjaer come out and pay his tribute to Peter Whittingham and that. So yeah, so that's the latest news on that. So I also now want to delve into a bit of more transfer news, keep you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United. I was actually hearing rumours not too long ago saying that, with this coronavirus going around, it could affect, teams making some signings in the summer transfer window. But I don't think it will affect, the transfer business. But all I do know about this virus is that, teams, are going to lose a lot of money. Businessmen are going to lose a lot of money. So let's also put that into the equation. So yes, I want to give you some news regarding Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang now. I haven't spoken to you guys about Aubameyang in quite a while, but I've just been reading recent reports, and I think they've actually been coming out at least in the last couple of days, and it says a number of clubs have expressed their interest in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, reportedly, Man United have expressed their interest. Barcelona, also to PSG, have expressed their interest. Don't forget, we went in for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang before. Now, I think he's expected to leave Arsenal, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I think he's got around, a year left in his contract. I think now he's heading into the final year of his contract. But I think Arsenal have come to accept the fact that Aubameyang is not going to be signing a new contract with them. So Arsenal have come to accept this. Now, I think Arsenal, they've come out and said they value Aubameyang at around £50 million. But now the clubs that are in for him believe they can get him for around £35 million this summer. Now, I do like Aubameyang a lot, and I think he's done very, very well at Arsenal since his arrival from Borussia Dortmund in January 2018. Of course, he's one of Arsenal's most expensive signings. Arsenal did pay around, was it 56 or 57 million pounds for him. He is the age of 30, so you can say that's an element of concern because he is aging up, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but he's well proven in the Premier League. I think for Arsenal in the Premier League, he's got 49 goals in 75 appearances, and I think he's got around 61 goals for them in all competitions. And I think, he's on the brink of breaking a record to become the fastest player to score 50 goals for Arsenal, because like I mentioned in the Premier League, he is on 49 goals. He's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's either 30 or he's 31 years of age, but I've got to say he's a very, very good player. You can put Aubameyang out wide. Me personally speaking, I think Aubameyang, is much better centrally, because that's his predominant position, is that central position, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's, and his finishing's good, his movement's good, his runs on and off the ball are very, very good. But I think actually, Barcelona have been long admirers of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but he's been at quite a few clubs during his playing career. Obviously, before he was at Arsenal, he was at Borussia Dortmund, where I think he did really, really well. Obviously, he's been at St Etienne, he's also been at Lille, he's also been at Monaco, and I think he actually, began his career in Italy with Milan, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But don't forget, I think, didn't I update you a while back, saying that Manchester United expressed their interest in Aubameyang and that. But yeah, I think Arsenal have quoted out that they do want around £50 million for the player. But don't forget, we have recruited players from Arsenal in the past. In recent years, we've got players from Arsenal. Don't forget, we got Alexis Sanchez from them back in January 2018. Of course, he was part of a swap deal with Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. Unfortunately, Sanchez didn't exceed expectations at Manchester United because we thought he'd been an exceptional player, but he wasn't. Sanchez enjoyed a difficult 18 months with the football club. But I've got to say, Sanchez did have a good 3.5, 4 years at Arsenal. He also played under Guardiola's guidance when he was younger, but it was just disappointing for Man United with Sanchez. Obviously, don't forget, we got Robin Van Persie from them. Back was it in 2012? We paid around £30 million for him. Obviously, reflects on the amount of goals he scored in during his time with Man United. You can say he won us the league back in 2013, reflecting on the amount of goals he scored. And don't forget, Arsenal got Danny Welbeck from us, was it back in 2014 or 15? Now, obviously, he's no longer at Arsenal. He's currently at Watford and that. But, like I mentioned, Arsenal are at risk of losing a few of their players. I think there's been reports saying that Ozil could leave. Ozil could leave also to Lacazette. I don't know what's going on with Mkhitaryan. Isn't he on loan with Roma? But if Arsenal were to get rid of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Ozil, they would generate a lot of money for their departures. I think Ozil's actually, their highest paid player, or one of their highest paid players, because I think he's got a contract worth 350 grand a week. Don't forget, Man United also went in for Mesut Ozil before. But I'd love Aubameyang to come to Manchester United because, like I mentioned, he's a prolific goal scorer, and I think he'd be able to replicate at Man United, what he's done during his time with Arsenal. And I do believe Manchester United do need a centre forward, even though Odion Ighalo has done really, really well. Odion Ighalo has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Odion Ighalo, has 4 goals in 3 starts for the club. I think he's also provided a couple of assists. But like I mentioned, Odion Ighalo is a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford. He's totally comparison to our other attacking players because, like Solsjaker was saying, he's a different type of centre-forward, is Odion Ighalo. But as it stands at the moment, we have got him on a 6-month loan. Man United are paying a third of his wages, but we've made an admission saying that it's likely we will make his transfer permanent this summer, Odion Ighalo's. But revert back to what I said, even if we get him permanently, I still believe Manchester United do need another striker in there. But I've got to give Odion Ighalo a lot of credit because he has confounded his critics Ron. So you've got to give him a lot of credit. But like I mentioned, Solskjaer has revealed he does want to bring a centre forward in. Definitely in that. But we'll look much better anyway, when Rashford comes back. I think it did confirm that Rashford's set to be back in the next couple of weeks. Don't forget, Rashford has been out with a back injury for Manchester United. Solskjaer, don't forget, did play him against Wolves, and Solskjaer did make the mistake by, playing him against Wolves. He hadn't played against Wolves, I don't think this injury, would have occurred, to be quite honest with you. But Rashford's been a big miss because he was one of our best players early on in the season and that. But yeah, Aubameyang, would complement our attacking line really, really well. So if we could get him in, that would be good because basically, we'd see Aubameyang as the adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Because don't forget, we let Lukaku last summer go to Inter Milan for £70 million. So that's the latest news on him. Obviously, earlier on, I give you the latest news on Jude Bellingham, didn't I? I give you the latest news on him. Obviously, we have blown Borussia Dortmund out of the water, basically, because, we're willing to offer Jude Bellingham a £100,000 a week contract to convince him to come to Manchester United and reject Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, we're obsessed about the idea of signing Jude Bellingham. Obviously, reports were emerging out yesterday saying that Jude Bellingham has made his decision on what club he wants to join. This came out from a report saying that he'd agreed a deal to go and join Borussia Dortmund in the summer. But like I mentioned, up to 4 clubs are in for him. But yesterday it said that he turned down Man United, he turned down Chelsea, and he'd also turned down Bayern Munich to join Borussia Dortmund. Now, I've already given my perception on Jude Bellingham. I've got to give him a lot of credit because I think, he's been a revelation this season for Birmingham and he's done really, really well. But like I mentioned, he's still inexperienced at the moment because it's only his first season in the senior squad with Birmingham. He's been playing persistently this season. I think he's played like 35 games in all competitions as Jude Bellingham. But he became the youngest player to represent Birmingham. Don't forget, made his debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days did Jude Bellingham. Obviously has not yet signed his professional contract. I think he turns 17 in the summer, doesn't he? So he will sign his professional contract then. But I think from my own perception, Jude Bellingham needs at least another season in the Championship, he needs at least another season in the Championship, to emulate to that level. Because I don't think his Premier League standard at the moment, like I mentioned, he's only the age of 16 is the player. He will cost us in the excess of around £30 million, and I think Man United are willing to pay this. So he's actually no priority for the summer transfer window, is Jude Bellingham and that. Because to be fair, some players who come from the Championship, do really, really well in the Premier League. Prime example, we got Daniel James in the Championship. We got him from Swansea last summer for £15 million. And he's done really, really well and he's exceeded expectations. Enjoyed a fantastic start. Hasn't been great in the last couple of months or so, but don't forget he ended his goal drought against Lask, did Daniel James. That was his first goal for the club since the 31st of August. So I've got to give Daniel James a lot of credit. I really, really have. But I think from my own perception anyway, Solsjaker has been overplaying Daniel James and that. But, obviously, we've got a few players from the Championship over the years. Don't forget, I think we get one Sneak Powell from the Championship. So Jude Bellingham, could probably replicate, what Dan James did when he first came in, if he does come to Manchester United. But it still remains uncertain where Jude Bellingham's next club is going to be. But yeah, that's the latest news regarding him. So basically, Solskjaer has revealed the three positions where he wants to strengthen up. He wants a centre forward, he wants a right winger, and he also wants a central midfielder. But don't forget, Solskjaer's come out and basically said he wants to make around 3 signings, or 4 maybe, because he believes we need at least 3 signings in the summer to become title contenders, basically. And like I mentioned, we haven't won the Premier League for 7 years. We haven't won the Premier League. So last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history, a fantastic fan base. We're the most successful team in England because we've won 20 titles, we've won 13 Premier League titles and that. But yeah, so we don't want to go 30 years without, we don't want it to take us 30 years to win another title, like it obviously has done with Liverpool and that. So we haven't won it for 7 years at the moment. So I think I can expect Man United to win it maybe within the next 2 to 3 years. I'm sceptical that we'll win it next season, but I think, we definitely we'll be up there challenging, if we can get the right calibre players to Manchester United this summer and that. Obviously, Jack Grealish is another player on our agenda, and I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Jack Grealish on a regular basis. Like I mentioned regarding Jack Grealish, his valuation depends on whether Villa stay up or whether Villa go down. Now, if Villa were to go down, he won't cost as much as 60 or 70 million. If Villa were to stay up, it'd cost in the 60 odd or 70 odd million pound range with Jack Grealish. Now, the likes of, I think, Liverpool, there's been a lot of narratives recently saying Liverpool have been in for him, City have been in for him, I think Real Madrid have expressed their interest in Grealish. Revert back to the summer of 2018, Tottenham were very, very close to getting Jack Grealish for around 25 million, but obviously, the deal didn't materialise. I don't know where Jack Grealish is going to go when he leaves Aston Villa and that. Up until this point, Jack Grealish has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. I think he did actually have a loan spell with Notts County, did Jack Grealish. But as you all know, as it stands, he's got 3 years left on his contract because he has got a contract with Villa until 2023. I don't think, by the way, he's got a buyout clause inserted as Jack Grealish. But he's predominantly an attacking midfielder that can occasionally play as a winner and that. So it is good that Man United are making plans for the summer. And don't forget, recently the Glazers who come out and basically, said they are backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the signings of signings for the likes of, Sancho, Grealish and, Bellingham and all them of that. So the Glazers have come out and said this. Obviously, the Glazers have been here since 2005. So they've been here now 15 years of the Glazers. And obviously, a lot of United fans this season have had doubts about the Glazers. Obviously, Ed Woodward's got the same perception as the Glazers because he's also, determined to back Ole Gunnar Solsjaker and that. And he's come out a few times this season and said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe. And this is what, Ed Woodward basically, came out with him. Woodward's been here since 2012, so Ed Woodward's now been here around 8 years. But don't forget, a lot of United fans have been criticising Ed Woodward this season because I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last 6 or 7 years, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last, 6 or 7 years or so. But yeah, like I mentioned, there is a lot of players on our agenda. But revert back to what I said about Grealish, maybe we won't be too bothered about getting Grealish in. Or Maddison, we'll put him into the equation because Man United have been in for James Maddison before. We may not be too bothered because obviously, Bruno Fernandes is making a fantastic impact and Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. You've got Bruno Fernandes that's on 3 goals and 4 assists already for the football club, and as everyone is aware, Bruno Fernandes is making the difference in the team, very instrumental, and I've got to say, he's the best player we've recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And look at the amount of players we've recruited in since the Ferguson era. Obviously, I think we've recruited over 30 odd players in. Not only that, spent a substantial amount. We've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era and that. But Bruno Fernandes is the best. And, he's like our 4th most expensive signing because we paid £68 million to Bruno Fernandes with add-ons included. Don't forget, he got Premier League Player of the Month, did Bruno Fernandes. He got Premier League Player of the Month for February, so that was also very, very good to see. But at Man United, he's replicating what he did in his 2.5 years at Sporting Lisbon, so you have got to give Bruno Fernandes a lot of credit in that. So yeah, and obviously, earlier on today, if this was actually on my last video, I give you the breaking news, didn't I, regarding Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, I think Man United are going to sell Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window because obviously, the recent reports that have been coming out today and I think yesterday, were totally comparison to the ones that were coming out last week because reports were emerging out last week saying that, Paul Pogba wanted to stay at the football club. He was interested in extending his contract at Manchester United. This is what Paul Pogba said. And I think, one of the main explanations why I wanted to stay is because, he believes he can form a partnership with Bruno Fernandes. This is what Paul Pogba said. And then after the last game, the 5-0 win against Lask, Solskjaer basically reiterated what Pogba had said, and Solskjaer did say that Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season. But I've been reading the reports today, like I mentioned, and it's been stemming from a lot of reports, but I actually read it in The Sun, and The Sun isn't reliable, but I just read some of the article, basically. And it basically, said that Man United have revealed they're willing to let him go in the summer for just £100 million. So basically, we've slashed £80 million off his asking price because revert back to last summer, Manchester United wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba, but of course Real Madrid were not willing to pay £180 million for Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, it had fueled a lot of speculation up yesterday because obviously it revealed yesterday that Paul Pogba was back in training because he has been stepping up his fitness regime. He was training with Victor Lindelof indoors, but Paul Pogba was wearing a Juventus shirt with Matuidi on the back. That's obviously, to pay tribute to Matuidi because don't forget, he recently, not too long ago, got tested positive for coronavirus, but, that still did fuel speculation in that. But, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, at least in the last couple of years, has been working on getting Paul Pogba's transfer away from Manchester United completed and that. He's been talking today as his agent, Mini Raiola, Paul Pogba's agent, yeah. And he's basically been saying that, he intends to take a great footballer to Real Madrid this summer. This is what Mini Raiola said. And he also said that Paul Pogba is having a complicated time at Manchester United, but still believes that he's focusing on Manchester United at the moment and will play again for the football club before he does leave in the summer. Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for Manchester United. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. The last time he started was back in September. He hasn't played overall since the 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day. So I think, we just need to resolve his future, basically, because, since he rejoined the club from Juventus back in 2016, he's just had a long-running transfer saga, basically. There's been speculation of him leaving this year. Last summer there was talks of him leaving. Under the Jose Mourinho era, there was a lot of talks about Paul Pogba leaving the football club because he enjoyed a really, really bad relationship, with Jose Mourinho, did Paul Pogba and that. I think in total for the club he's made like 151 appearances and scored 31 goals in all competitions, but we'd get minimum 100 million if we were to sell him this summer, and it would free up our wage bill a lot, because Pogba, is one of the highest paid players at the club. He's on 290 grand a week, so put that into the equation. I think we will trigger the 1 year extension on his contract. So obviously, his £100 million valuation can't drop, basically. So if he'll either go to Madrid or he'll make a return back to Turin, Paul Pogba. Don't forget PSG and Barcelona have also been in for him. So as it stands at the moment, what we know is that Pogba is likely to leave Manchester United in the summer and that. So yeah, that's obviously the news on him. Obviously, even if he does get back into the team, which he will, he's not guaranteed to play regular anyway, because you've got Fred McTominay and Matic that have done well, and I think for Pogba to get back in the team properly, would have to drop one of that trio, and there's no reason, why Manchester United need to. I obviously give you the news, didn't I, earlier on this week, regarding the Nemanja Matic, and that was also very, very good news, because we give him a 1 year extension on his contract. I think we're giving this, reflecting on his good run of performances, Matic. Thought he did well, when McTominay was injured, did Matic, so got to give him a lot of credit. Matic is now into his 3rd season at the football club, made over 100 appearances, and Man United paid around £40 million for him from Chelsea. What are we doing? Paid around £40 million from Chelsea, so yeah, we did extend his contract. Angel Gomez, his future's not been resolved as yet, and I think this is one of the main explanations why he's seldom played under Ole Gunnar Solsjaker, to be quite honest with Angel Gomez. Up until this point, he spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United as Angel Gomez. Been a United player, I think, since the age of 8, and he's been in our senior squad since 2017 or 2018, is it? But, he hasn't played much under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I think Solskjaer still believes his future lies at the football club, does Angel Gomez. Chelsea have been in for him recently. I think Barcelona have also expressed their interest, but we'll be hoping we can get him a new contract, and I think it did say we was willing to offer him around 25 grand a week. Don't forget John the other week, he signed a new contract with the club. He signed a 2-year deal with an option of a further year, so that's also, very, very good news in that. But like I mentioned, a lot of players have improved under Solskjaer's guidance. I've got to say, Luke Shaw's done really, really well since he's come back from injury. I've got to give him a lot of credit. I think Lindelof's done really, really well. He's done very, very well alongside Maguire this season, because obviously Maguire and Lindelof are our first choice centre-halves. The signing Solskjaer's brought in general have all done really, really well. Fred and McTominay have done really, really well as a partnership in our midfield. Got to give them a lot of credit, definitely. Martial's recently rejuvenated himself. I give you the news, by the way, didn't I, regarding Martial? There was reports saying if Man United failed to qualify for the Champions League, that his future could be in doubt, and he actually, could leave for Inter Milan, could Anthony Martial. Martial's been a long servant here, Martial is now into his 5th season at Manchester United. He's on, 15, 16 goals this season. He's predominantly a left winger, but this particular season, Martial's been playing in that number 9 role. But a lot of people say he should be reverted to the left. Don't forget, Martial has sustained quite a few injuries this season. But like I mentioned, one of his best seasons was his debut season under Louis van Gaal, was Anthony Martial's. So give him a lot of credit. Like I mentioned, Matic has done really, really well. He's done well, since he's come back. I've got to give him a lot of credit. He's one of our backup centre-halves. But he actually, could get there ahead of It's Lindelof, believe it or not. I've got to give the young players a lot of credit. Williams is in his first season in the senior squad, done well. Mason Greenwood, he's also done really, really well for the club. I think he's in his first season now in the senior squad, Greenwood. He's a very, very good player for us. So we have actually, got a lot of good players. And recently, a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved. We're playing as a unit. We're playing as a team. We're creating chances. We're scoring goals. And we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. And this is our best vein of form since Solsjaker was the interim manager in that. And, I've got to give Solskjaer a lot of credit recently, to be fair. And don't forget, Solskjaer recently revealed his attacking philosophy. He basically, wants us to play attacking football under his management and that. But looking like, now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got it right. But like I mentioned, we need to get rid of around 4 or 5 players in the summer. We're planning to get rid of around 4 or 5 players in the summer. But, you've also got to credit Solskjaer because he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he has come in, to be fair. So we've got to credit Solskjaer for that. And like I mentioned, Man United have got rid of 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. So more than likely, Solskjaer will be given another season at the football club. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, follow on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.